"Can I play for a plate of food?" they mocked, unaware that he is a piano genius. The ballroom was alive with polished laughter. Crystal glasses clinked, dresses shimmered, and the grand chandelier above glowed with golden pride. At the piano sat Victor Hale, a young man with slicked hair and a midnight suit, his fingers gliding confidently across the keys. Every note was met with applause, not because of his skill, but because of his name, his money, his charm. The crowd cheered louder when the doors creaked open. Heads turned. A silence fell, broken quickly by muffled chuckles. An old man shuffled inside. His jacket was torn at the sleeves, the fabric worn and patched. His shirt hung loose, his shoes scuffed and split at the toes. His face, lined and weathered, carried exhaustion deeper than age. He stood there awkwardly, clutching the doorframe as whispers spread through the ballroom. "What's he doing here?" a woman in red muttered. "He must have taken a wrong turn." Another laughed. The old man lowered his head, then raised it again with surprising steadiness. His voice was hoarse but clear. "Sir, may I play? Just for a plate of food." For a moment, silence. Then laughter crashed like thunder. Victor leaned back on the bench, his grin wide. "Play? On this?" He tapped the polished black piano with mockery. "Old man, this costs more than your entire life." The guests roared. A man in a tuxedo pointed. "Careful! His filthy hands might stain it. Does he even know which end is up?" Another shouted. The old man swallowed, his throat tight. "I only ask for food. Nothing more." Victor tilted his head. "Food? You barge into a gala dressed like a beggar, and now you want a plate? This isn't a soup kitchen." He turned to his friends, and they howled with laughter. But the old man didn't leave. His eyes, though tired, stayed on the piano. He stepped closer, each shuffle of his shoes earning new waves of ridicule. "You're bold," Victor sneered. "Or maybe desperate." "I was, once a teacher," the old man said softly. "Music was my life. Until—" he paused, his voice breaking. "Until my wife fell ill. Every coin I had went to doctors, hospitals, and when she was gone there was nothing left. The house, the students, all gone." Some of the laughter softened into murmurs, but Victor cut through it sharply. "A sad story doesn't make you a pianist. If you were worth anything, you wouldn't be standing there begging." The old man's hands trembled against his torn jacket. "I do not beg for money, just food. Pathetic," a woman in green said, shaking her head. "Look at him, he reeks of failure." Victor smirked, turning back to the keys. "Tell you what. Play us something, old man. If you impress me, which I doubt, I'll give you more than a plate of food. But if you humiliate yourself, you'll crawl back to the streets where you belong." Laughter erupted again, crueler this time. The old man's chest tightened. He wanted to refuse, to leave with what little dignity he had left. But the hollow ache in his stomach reminded him of the days without food, the nights shivering on a bench outside a church. And the piano before him, the instrument he once loved more than his own breath, was here, waiting. "I will play," he whispered. Victor burst into laughter. "Hear that?" The maestro agrees. He scooted aside on the bench with an exaggerated bow. "Don't break her, old man. She's more delicate than your bones." The crowd erupted once more. The old man lowered himself onto the bench slowly, his hands hovering over the ivory keys. His fingers shook, not from age, but from fear. Memories flooded him. A classroom of eager students. His wife smiling as he played lullabies. His daughter before poverty took her away to strangers. Now he sat in a room full of polished cruelty, mocked by the wealthy who had never known hunger. Victor leaned close, his smirk sharp. "Go on, then. Show us your genius, or prove what we already know, that you're nothing." The old man closed his eyes, pressing his palms lightly to the keys. He breathed in deeply, the sound of mocking laughter ringing in his ears. Inside, he whispered to himself, "For her, for all I lost." The room was restless, expectant, ready to devour his failure, and in that breath before the first note, the weight of a lifetime of pain pressed down on his shoulders. He had nothing left to give but music. The old man's trembling fingers hovered for one last breath, and then he began. The first note was soft, almost fragile, like a whisper from another world. The crowd tittered, some already snickering, waiting for mistakes. But then the second note came, and the third, flowing seamlessly into a melody that reached into every corner of the room. The laughter stilled. His hands, worn and scarred, moved with a grace that defied their appearance. Each key carried sorrow and love, anger and forgiveness. It was not music for performance. It was music for survival, poured straight from a soul that had been broken and mended too many times. Tears welled in the eyes of the guests who only minutes earlier had mocked him. The woman in the green dress covered her mouth, her shoulders shaking. A man who had shouted insults before now blinked furiously, ashamed of his own words. Victor, sitting beside him, forced a laugh. "It's just sentiment," he stammered, trying to keep his composure. "Anyone can play with feeling." But even as he said it, his voice cracked. The music had gripped him too, tearing down his arrogance. The old man's melody shifted, growing heavier, darker. His voice broke into the room as he played, trembling yet steady with conviction. This is what I lived for. I taught children who could not pay. I played for my wife when she was too weak to rise from her bed. I sold everything I had, every piano, every book, so I could buy her one more week with the doctors. And when she was gone, so was I. Gasps broke through the silence. The rich laughter of minutes ago was gone, replaced by muffled sobs. Guests wiped their faces with trembling hands. Victor tried again to sneer, but the words died in his throat. He looked at the old man's fingers dancing across the keys, and the arrogance drained from his eyes. By the time the final chord rang out, lingering like a prayer, he was staring in silence, tears shining where mockery once had been. The old man let his hands fall gently onto his lap. The piano hummed with the echo of his final note, and for a long moment no one breathed. Then, as though on cue, the entire room rose to their feet, applauding, not with cheers or drunken noise, but with reverence, their tears still wet. Victor swallowed hard and stood. His voice was different now, soft, almost pleading. "Sir, forgive me. I was blind. You are no beggar. You are a master. I own the largest piano academy in this city, and I beg you, come teach there. Let the world hear you again." The old man looked up, his eyes clouded with both pain and wisdom. He shook his head gently. "I did not play for honor. I did not play for your applause. I asked only for a plate of food." The silence was crushing. He rose slowly from the bench, bowing his head as though the weight of his years had doubled. Victor tried again, stepping closer. "Please, don't walk away. You deserve—" The old man raised a hand, stopping him. His voice was steady now, almost serene. "I lost everything when I lost her. Music is all I have left, but tonight I gave it freely. That is enough." He turned, the torn fabric of his jacket swaying as he walked through the stunned crowd. No one laughed, no one whispered. Guests stepped aside, lowering their eyes in shame. their expensive clothes suddenly feeling like rags compared to the dignity of the man they had mocked. At the banquet table, he paused only long enough to pick up a simple plate of food, bread, meat, and fruit. Holding it with quiet hands, he made his way to the door. The chandeliers above still glittered, but the room no longer felt bright. Every person present had been humbled. As the old man disappeared into the night, Victor sank back onto the piano bench. He pressed his fingers against the keys, but no sound came. For the first time in his life, he realized that money, fame, and applause meant nothing compared to the music of a man who had lost everything, yet still played as though his soul was whole. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.